And we are live.
Hello, hello. I'm Tala, and today this is a 12 FPS with two particular characters. I'm here playing one Drift and their dog Eerie, and the wonderful.
How dare you attack me in my own home? Hi, everybody. I'm Babble. It's been a while, but I am here today playing Azalea. My, small furball child who is also feral and stinky.
And good for her. Speaking of Azalea, what's she up to today?
As of current, she is just kind of vibing, in a sense. You know, making not much of an effort to stealth, even though she probably should. On the shores, I don't remember if we decided, like, where in Inkwell this takes place.
It's just somewhere along the coastline. We don't need to worry about specifics.
There's a shoreline, there's sand, it's a beach, probably. And there's people, and which means if there's people, then there's food or there's money. And she is very food motivated, so.
To hear that. Okay, so Azalea, you're on this beach. You're, I assume, like picking some pockets, stealing some picnics. You know, the works. When let's see. Yeah, okay. When you catch the smell of something truly delicious on the air, the smell of cooked meat that's smells perfectly spiced, juicy, like it's just freshly cooked, and it seems like it's not coming from too far away.
I was gonna contemplate whether or not that would actually smell good to her, because she is a furball for the most part, but at the same time, I remembered the other half of her heritage, and I'm like, tieflings do like meat, right? I'm pretty sure they do. And so, yeah, it does sound good to her. Which that would be the first, probably, for her. So she's just like, that's meat. Well, why do I enjoy that scent? I'm curious, but, So she's just kind of gonna drop the basket that she had just kind of swiped when someone was looking away from it. You know, just kind of a drive-by, pick it up as you're walking past while the person isn't looking. Very toony shenanigan of the person looking back and being like, wait, where'd it go? And she drops it, and she's gonna kind of. She's not stealthing. I don't know for certain if she really knows how, but she is tentatively going towards it. Maybe picking up the pace as she gets closer, because, like, again, this child is very food motivated. She hungry.
And as she approaches, uh, the scent leads her a little bit away from the bulk of the crowd on the beach and towards the rockier areas. You know, the place that isn't as good for picnics and whatnot because there's a bunch of rocks in the way.
There's a bunch of pokey, proddy things.
Could she go ahead and roll me a perception, actually?
Absolutely. I don't want cap locks on, please. Thank you, Discord. Her perception is one of her 2 highest stats, thankfully. And that... okay. Okay, Azalea.
Well, a nat 20 plus 8, 28. Yeah, okay. You can pick this up pretty clearly as you approach. I'm sitting in the shade of one of the larger rocks is a dog. A particularly large looking dog. And a fire over which sits like one of those little grates? Like, no, I don't know. I don't actually know what the term is for it, but you know all those little metal sticks that you put together to make something you can grill with, right?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know the word for it.
It's a mystery.
It sure is a word. There is a word for that. Fuck if we know what it is. But we know what we're talking about. Clearly.
And, there's also, of course, the meat she was smelling earlier, which, does appear to be, yeah, it does appear to be, like, beef. Specifically, these little beef kebabs that the dog, has, like, set out evenly along the rack and is, slowly turning them, making sure they're perfectly cooked. The dog seems quite focused on its cooking.
Alright.
But with a 28, you can also notice a little distance away, closer to the actual water and also partially hidden in the shade of another rock, is another person about your height, wearing all grays, who just appears to be watching the sea and smoking a cigarette.
Azalea is only familiar with, like, cigars because of her dad and her uncle. So, she sees smoke and assumes it's one of those, but it looks really tiny. That's weird. But it's not any of her concern. Her eyes go directly back to the food. Is there, like, more than what would be found normally in a picnic basket? Like, is it worth her choosing that to steal over the picnic baskets?
There is the meat there's the kebabs that are currently being cooked, and to the side is, like, one of those paper plates that's just that's currently piled with more kebabs. I assume there's no more than what you normally get in a picnic basket.
For those of you on my recording,
Is occasionally like
don't mind me choking. I'm fine.
just snatching one of the already finished ones to gnaw on as well.
Alright, so it is very worth stealing over the picnic baskets. At least to her. I'm gonna roll a d2 to see what she does. Like, does she bother stealthing, or... Discord, please. Oh. I continuously forget that Dice Parser doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah.
1. Okay, so she's gonna be somewhat smart and try the stealth. Which she has disadvantage on because of all of, like... Mechanically, it's her armor. Realistically, it's all of her dad's clothing that she has on. And, like... the armor, quote-unquote, of her prosthetics. Which are very heavy. And her dad's clothing that she has on is much bigger than she is. Where's stealth? There it is. Gonna see, can you do a steal, small child? No. No. She does not.
Oh dear.
So she tries to stick to the shadows, but I think maybe she was on, like, a big rock overlooking this. And so as she's trying to go, like, to the side to get down off of that rock, maybe she slips on, like, a part where her hoof was that had some sand that she didn't see. Some wet sand. And she slips, and instead of stealthily going through all of the rocks and swiping one of the kebabs, she instead rolls through the rocks, oh so gracefully, like a tune, just absolutely rolling like a ball, and just kind of faceplant skids into the sand right by this dog and the kebabs. With, like, mostly the hat and the cape, or not the cape, the coat showing.
Lovely.
Yeah.
The dog pauses in her cooking, in her impromptu little barbecue, looks over this newcomer, trots over, gives her a couple sniffs before barking.
Azalea's not gonna move. I think she's gonna kind of just stay still and hope that the gigantic coat and hat cover all of her features. Which is not a good thing in this scenario, actually, but she doesn't know that.
Yeah, the dog, well, still barking, starts to circle Azalea, lean down to give her a little nudge, do some more circling, as more footsteps are heard approaching, this time from the direction of that person she spotted earlier.
Oh no. Oh no. The more that this is happening, the more tense that she's getting. And, let's see. Are you gonna try and stay here and play dead, child, or are you gonna bolt? Let's see. You're gonna bolt. Okay. Let's see. What can help her bolt? Because she's not got great, hmm. Not a lot. You know what? Yep. Yep, she's gonna use that. Hell yeah. Okay. So, she's going to use a firbolg trait called Hidden Step. And suddenly this child is invisible. Which means that I'm gonna say something that it acts like this, at least this one time. Where she herself is invisible, except for the hat and the coat. And suddenly, that hat and coat gets up, there's nobody in it, you think, and it just starts running off. Like, nope, fuck this.
Lovely. There is a... What? Hey! You get back here! Before the sound of a sharp whistle and... Where is that feature again? Okay. And suddenly, the originally quite docile looking dog melts into the shadow of the rock before reappearing in your shadow. Let's see. I'll just say Eerie's turn is like right after Drift, so it's like Azalea, Drift, then Eerie for the turn order essentially.
Alrighty.
And let's see. That was a bonus action. I gotta mark off those sorcerer points. Then I think for their full action, Drift will run after the two before casting haste on Eerie. So let me mark those off. And then that will be... will be Drift's turn, so Eerie, now looking, like, I don't know if Azalea's, like, looking behind her, but the dog that had originally looked quite docile and even a little friendly, has now taken on a far more monstrous form. She's grown two wide, blank eyes, and a large, dripping maw that practically splits her face apart. Her fur has grown spiky, and her claws seem to have lengthened entirely as she goes in for a bite.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna have her make a listen real quick.
Fair enough.
That's an 18. She's fine, just kind of like, what the fuck, internally.
Is an 18 hit?
Yes, an 18 hits.
Alright. That will be 2d6 plus that. Wow. 12 piercing damage. And I'm gonna need you to make a strength saving throw or be knocked prone.
Oh, yay! One of her worst stats. Alright. I mean, that's a dirty 20.
Yeah, you're fine. But then Eerie goes in for another bite.
Oh.
Yeah, haste is a fun spell.
Alright.
23.
Yeah. Yeah, that hits.
So that is another 8 piercing damage, and I will need another strength save.
20. Okay. Goodness, you were just beating the crap out of this child.
Violence time, I guess.
That's a 16.
Yep, that also makes it. So, she bites at you, and she does, like, manage to dig into your flesh, but she can't quite get a proper hold. Your turn.
I imagine that she's probably biting either Azalea's tail or, like, through the coat. To which case, the tail sounds like it would hurt a lot more, and this is doing a lot of damage, so... That tail has a prosthetic keeping it pretty much together, in the middle of it. Stop chewing cords, you little bastard! Hold on, I have a shittin'. Being a fucker.
No.
You, stop it. You're stinky. You are stinky. Go on, get out. Cord chewer. Alright, child has been reprimanded and thusly kicked out of my room for now. Let's see. Azalea, my darling, what are you wanting to do? Let's see. That takes an action. Cure wounds also takes an action. I don't think you do have healing words prepared. Awesome. Okay. It's a little too late for that. All right. Let's see. What are you gonna do? Because you have two things that you would want to do that require an action. So I'm gonna roll a d2 for that. Okay. She is going to cast Command. So I'm going to need a wisdom saving throw from Eerie.
Sure thing. What are, command you said?
Yes, and the command is halt.
Alright, wisdom saving throw from Eerie. Let's see. 20 plus 1. A 9.
That does not beat it.
Yeah.
And with her bonus action, she is going to cast Healing Word on herself and mutter, "Oh, thank fuck." For 1d4 plus 5. Alright, well, let's see, Healing Word. How high of a level can she cast that? At 3rd level. What was Command? Command was 1. Okay. Alright. So actually that's gonna be 3d4 plus 5. Okay, 14. So 12 plus 14. 26. That's good. That's good. She's not immediately going to fall over the next time that somebody hits her.
Thank goodness for that.
That said though, she has spoken out loud, and that is not a man's voice. That is a small girl's voice.
Yeah, Drift saw the hat and the coat. Like, they've heard the rumors. In fact, they probably came to this part of Inkwell to see if they could spot this so-called legendary pirate with a very high bounty. And, this probably does give them a bit of pause. Has Azalea, continued running, by the way?
Yes, she is just running and running. She doesn't seem to have any idea of where to go. This is, you don't even have to make much of a perception check at all. Whoever this is, she has no idea what she's doing. You would expect a legendary pirate to have a plan and an idea of where they're going when they're running away. To have some rhyme or reason behind it, but it seems like this kid is just running blind.
Yeah, okay. Drift will continue chasing after the two, though I guess Drift has come to a halt, as she has been told. And we'll go ahead and cast Sapping Sting. So I need her to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh boy. That is just a flat out d20. That's a 9. That's a 9.
Yeah, that's 1d4 damage and 4 damage. And she falls prone.
Ugh.
Let me add another 1d4. I forgot. Okay, so
Rest in pieces, Azalea, my darling. She's not.
Be remembered.
She's not dead. She still has 19 hit points, but she is now on her face, more than likely. And ow, that is a familiar kind of pain.
Yeah, you can feel the vitality practically sap out of you
Mm-hmm.
as a wave of weakness washes over. But with that, actually, let me check something real quick. No, that doesn't do anything. Alright, then I think. Yeah, I think they will go ahead and try a quicken spell to hold person. Could you go ahead and make me a wisdom save?
Yeah. Yay. Child, you are having such a wonderful time. That's a 12.
Unfortunate. That does not make it. As you fall to the ground, you can see your shadow, but the shadow beneath you start to move and swirl, and suddenly these inky black tendrils shoot up and wrap around you, keeping you pinned.
Oh, she hates that. She hates that. She hates that so much.
Anyways, it is now Drift's turn. She is still standing there, head tilted, like, eh? Oh, wait a second. I'm not supposed to listen to what you say. Oh, right. And she will take an action on her next turn. It is now Azalea's turn. Okay, at the end of your turn, you can make another wisdom saving throw.
This was a wisdom saving throw to see how she's responding to this, and the answer is poorly. She's not responding very well to this. This child is now just plain panicking. Thrashing about as much as she can, trying to get out of this. So much so that she has let down the disguised self, or, well, not the disguised self, the invisibility. And she is biting and kicking and screaming and doing her best to get out of this as much as possible. But instead of casting anything to get out, she is casting ways to heal herself. Give me just a moment. Alright, that's gonna be her third level. And this one is going to be Cure Wounds. Because no, she has decided absolutely not. She hates that. So that is 17 back. And I have to do some math. Okay. Well, that was a little bit of an overkill, Azalea. Alright. And she doesn't need to, but she is casting Healing Word on herself anyways. Because she is a child and she is panicking. What was healing word? Was it a D4? Yes, it was a D4. And that ends her turn, as she is just kind of like biting at these tendrils and trying to kick them off of her.
Unfortunately, it is ineffective. These tendrils are not quite physical.
That's not stopping her from trying.
Hey, fair enough. Rift approaches more calmly now that their target is incapacitated. And will stop in front of her, crouch down, and take a careful look before asking, say, you wouldn't happen to be that pirate fella from the Your Imagination ship? You know, the captain of it?
I was, before they all decided that they didn't want me on there. So I kind of just got dropped off here with my uncle and then got the boot.
So, you're the Scarlet Twilight?
No. But who's asking?
Oh, you know, not anyone particularly important. Just call it simple curiosity.
Curiosity gets people killed.
Well, I came back, so I guess it's not permanent.
You get the feeling that she wasn't referring to you. With the look that she gives you.
Whatever, they give a shrug and continue asking. So, why exactly do you have that fellow's hat? That is his, right?
They're mine now.
Okay. So, what, were you some stowaway or something who managed to snag the captain's hat and then got kicked off?
No.
Okay, then why do you have it?
Why does it matter to you?
Well, you see, I was coming here to investigate rumors about a certain pirate captain with a particularly high bounty. But it seems I may have just caught some nobody. Real shame.
Well, you're never gonna find him.
Oh? And why is that?
She's keeping her mouth shut. And she does that childish thing that kids do when they don't want to talk. And, like, she's making that face of, like, I'm not talking to you. You're not gonna get it out of me.
Oh, come on. You can tell Drift. I promise I won't tell anyone else. And, Drift is going to, you know, flash her a smile, except this smile has many, many sharp and jagged teeth. far too wide to be considered anything close to friendly, as they're gonna go ahead and roll an intimidation. Which,
I'm assuming I have to roll a contesting wisdom save for that.
yeah, I think, 11. Oof. Child is unfazed.
The child is unfazed, and she gets, like, as close to Drift's face as she can. And she's gonna spit at them. Feral child.
Drift sort of sputters and wipes the spit off, but to be honest, I think they're used to getting slobbered on. They just sigh. You know, kid, you're making this way harder than it has to be.
If you look at things from my perspective, you're the one that caught me, and I was just kind of chilling.
Well, I mean, it is technically my job to do that.
What?
But hey, let's
Capture people who are just kind of chilling?
yeah, assuming they've got a bounty on their heads. But hey, let's put it like this. If you can tell me the truth about why you got the hat of a famed pirate, I'll let you go and give you some kebabs as an apology. You know, I don't usually. I try to avoid getting innocent people wrapped up in my hunts.
I already told you that they're mine now.
Okay, and why are they yours? Did the captain give them to you? Did you steal them?
Give me just a moment. I'm gonna make a deception. And she does not have a proficiency in that. Great.
Oh yeah, I will say I think while they're like chatting, Drift will
That's
be
still...
like casually pulling out hemp and rope and oh, one. Let me go ahead and say what you're gonna say first, and then I'll roll insight.
She's just gonna keep her mouth shut. She doesn't want to tell you things.
Well, okay. I guess while they're chatting, Drift will be like replacing the shadowy hand with actual physical rope. You know, they can't hold concentration hold person forever.
Mm-hmm. As soon as any part of her is free, she is absolutely wriggling out as much as she can. I'm not gonna roll anything because I think it's fitting if we don't have any further chase.
But yeah, she is now tied up, and I guess the hold person will drop. As Eerie, now out of her scary monster form, also comes over to plop down beside Azalea and just sort of listen to the whole conversation. Not much of a talker, are you, kid? Oh well, I can work with that. Let's see.
The more you look at her, the more that she does seem to share some traits similar to his. For a furbolg,
Okay.
she's rather oddly colored. especially her eyes.
Okay, yeah, Drift, once, like, she's probably tied up, we'll get back to where they were originally positioned, and... Well, I guess if you're not gonna offer anything, I can go ahead and make some guesses. You're not a stowaway, were you... I don't know... the guy's kid or something? I mean, I did hear he's had a... what, something of a soft spot for the people that no one wants?
I'm gonna have to make a new deception. Hold on. And this time at disadvantage, because that still hurts her. That's a 16.
I think I'll go ahead and roll an insight. Now that we're getting properly into the interrogation. Dirty 20.
So she had pretty much just been, like, putting her foot to the ground, so to speak, and just digging her heels in. And, like, continuously just getting more and more pouty and pouty. But something in her face twitches when they mention, his kid. And it almost looks sad. And it twitches again, in a way. Almost as if insulted, sort of. When they mention that he had a soft spot for people that nobody wants.
Drift takes note of that. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that sounds like a pretty good guess. I can't say I knew he had a kid, but you know what? I guess you pick up all sorts of stragglers out on the open sea. You know what? Yeah, why don't we continue this conversation somewhere a little more comfortable. This sunlight's killing me. And Drift is gonna go ahead and stand up, brush their cloak off, and just sort of drag Azalea back to like where the, you know, the food was cooking.
She's gonna kick them.
Careful there. Don't want me dropping your face first in the sand, would we? I think you've had enough rocks already.
One last defiant little kick. Because she's mad and she's a child.
Good effort. Good effort, Squirt.
And she's still making that pouty face of, like, I'm not talking to you, though. So... Oh, honey.
Oh, no. What was that for?
She's still... So at some point along the way, you can hear sniffles. And soft little sobs. And it sounds like somebody's crying. Trying to hold it back,
drift will like lean her against the rock itself and take a seat in the sand. Jeez. Sorry, kid. Didn't actually mean to make you cry there. Hey, I get it. It's no fun knowing you're unwanted. You want a kebab? While you get your feelings out?
There's an ear twitch at them saying unwanted. And she's very angry when she sobs out to them, I was wanted! I was wanted very much, thank you. He wanted me.
I'm sure he did, kid. I'm sure he did. I'm guessing this is more of an orphan situation then?
No.
Well then, where's your pops?
He's dead.
Yeah, kid, that's what I meant by an orphan situation.
What? Well, I have parents. It's just they're not here anymore. They're both dead. My...
That's what an orphan means, kid. It means your parents are dead.
She makes a face as she's crying, and it's very angry. She doesn't like that word. And so she just kind of looks away and says, I don't know, I'm not. I'm not an orphan.
Well, yeah, sure, alright. I guess if you don't want to be an orphan, then you don't have to be. Again, sorry about the misunderstanding then. Yeah, do you still want some kebabs? Eerie makes them pretty well, I'd say. Though, probably makes them pretty well. I'll be honest, my taste buds aren't the best. And they will, like, hold out a kebab to her as an offer.
She looks
Until
at
they
them.
then realize that she's still tied up and oh, go ahead.
Oh. Like, I was gonna say, she looks at them and, like, she honestly doesn't care about the fact that she's tied up. She sees food. You have presented food to her face. She will kind of, like... She'll ask if it's poisoned first before she just kind of wriggles over as much as she can to try and take a bite.
Oh yeah, when she asks if it's poisoned, Drift takes kebab back, takes like a small bite through it, like stick and all, chews, and then offers it back. Nope. Doesn't taste poisoned.
And instead of being sus out over that, um, she doesn't seem to care at that point, and she wriggles as much as she can to try and take a bite while he's holding it, or while they're holding it, because she is tied up, but that's not going to stop her.
Yeah, Drift will like hold it close enough that she can like hold on to it with her teeth before pulling out a little knife. Hold on, I forgot. You can't eat very well when your hands are tied up. Sorry about that. I just didn't want you running. And they will cut the rope as well.
That the ropes clearly were not stopping her, because she was just kind of like, she's give me just a moment, I'm gonna see how well she figured out. Oh god, honey, why your intelligence is -2. But this is food, so I'm gonna give you advantage. That's a 17, hell yeah. So she somehow, in like a few seconds, figured out how to situate herself and the food to where she can eat it. Is it perhaps on the sand? Yes. Does it look like she cares? No. And as soon as she's free, she doesn't run. She sits up somewhat properly and just chows down.
Drift will like drag the rest of the kebabs over on their little plate and just sort of set them between Azalea and them. And they'll take one for themselves as well, as Eerie, sensing that it's now food time, will also grab a couple. So, what is your name then, if you're not that pirate?
She kind of wipes her mouth and takes a pause from eating and mutters very quickly through a somewhat mouthful, Azalea? And then immediately back to eating.
Well, nice to meet you, Azalea. The name's Drift, and this is my dog Eerie. She's normally quite a softie, but you know, she gets scary on hunts. What were you doing out here then?
She takes a few bites and kind of wipes her mouth with her sleeve again. And there's a very small, soft burp. and she's, I wasn't lying when I said that I kind of just got dropped off here with my uncle and then abandoned by the rest of the crew.
Fair enough. Where's your uncle then?
Around somewhere doing things.
Yeah, adults are always doing things, aren't they? And Drift will take a slightly angry bite out of their kebab. So, what, have you just been hanging out on random beaches?
Wherever. Thought the beach would be a good place today because there's a lot of people, which means there's a lot of food, so I get a meal.
Drift nods at that. Hey, smart thinking. Probably what I would have done at your age, too. Actually, wait, how old are you?
She pauses. Because, like, the correct answer is in her early-ish 20s. But she knows that that's not really... That's verbal years. Not everybody's is the standard, because she's still very much so a child.
Yeah, full verbal reach maturity at like... What was it again?
I think 30s, 40s? No. I think 40s.
Yeah, around 30. They reach adulthood around 30, yeah.
Yeah. So she's like really early 20s. But that said, mentally wise, she's like 10 or 11. Because that's where that would be in verbal years. So, very young. She is very young.
So does she answer the question then?
Oh, yeah. I was told I age different than everybody else, then I'm slower. I'm in my early 20s. I don't know how to count. That's just what my dad said.
Yeah, Furbolgs. I think Furbolgs age a little slower. I don't know. I ain't an expert on the stuff, but yeah, I guess that sounds about right. Probably. You can have the rest of the kebabs, by the way. I don't actually. Neither of us actually need to like eat for sustenance.
Okay.
You know, it's just like a thing we do for fun, honestly.
She has a confused look on her face before she just decides not to question it. And I'm gonna roll her a sleight of hand to see if she can sneak some into her hammer space. Not so subtly, but there's an attempt to put some in a hammer space.
No comment. Actually, wait. No, that's you beat their passive perception. Actually, they don't notice.
And there's a few left that are in her hands that she's kind of chowing down on.
It is some pretty good kebabs, I'll say that though. Eerie knows how to spice her stuff.
She do, and Azalea is enjoying it. If you guys look at her, she has sharper teeth than a furball normally does. And honestly, it's not normal for a furball to eat meat, so...
Yeah. Drift with the Drift now knows they figured. But, yeah, I think they'll like let the conversation lapse into silence for a bit as Azalea eats and Rift and Eerie just enjoy the atmosphere until. So, uh, does your uncle have a place that you stay at?
Sort of. And she's now just kind of playing with the sticks, kind of trying to make something out of them half-heartedly. As she's talking, and she's not looking at them. She's kind of focused on the sticks and what she's doing with them as she's talking. We had a place a couple days ago, but we haven't been back there since. I haven't seen him since when I go back, so I don't stay. I know he's around. I see him on the streets sometimes, so I know he's there. I don't know what he's doing, though. And I don't know if he goes back to that place, or if he goes to a different place, or not. So I just don't go back. Not until he comes to pick me up. Doesn't seem like there are a lot of places that'll accept, from what my uncle says, our kind. So, it's kind of hard to find a place anyways, it seems.
Oh. What is your kind then? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, my uncle says it's the poor and the real. Poor, real, a whole many things.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I get it. I'm not welcomed in certain places either. Gotta be more careful in the, more religious parts of Inkwell.
Elliot had an accident for a minute.
And also, I guess, just because people don't really like bounty hunters on their doorsteps. Not that they have a choice.
What is a bounty hunter?
Oh, well, someone who hunts bounties, basically. Some people would want other people captured or dead, and I'm someone they hire to do that.
Why?
Well, it makes good money. And it's certainly an interesting way to spend my time as well.
So you like doing it?
Oh yeah, normally. It's the hunt's thrilling.
She kind of shrugs. Like that was an acceptable answer to her questions.
Plus, I've been doing this I've been doing this stuff since I was old enough to hold a gun. Oh, it's just routine, I guess, as well.
Routines sound boring.
Hey, technically. It's just that this routine is constantly changing. You can never really predict how any one hunt will go. That's the exciting part.
It's not scary at all.
Scary? Oh, come on. I'm the one that scares them.
You weren't really scary to me.
Oh, yeah, that's because you're not actually my target. Which, I probably don't have a target actually if he's dead.
I don't think you'd want to take him in if you had seen how he was before.
Oh, hey, who knows? I'm no good scum. No morals in me.
My uncle said that I got sick because of him.
Just because of him. Why's that?
My uncle says that it's because my dad did something stupid and fell in love with somebody who was sick. And because he fell in love with somebody who was sick, he got sick. And then when they had me and my mom died, I got sick with the same thing.
And, do you happen to know what that sickness is?
No.
Yeah, okay, that's probably just bullshit. Adults lie all the time to make themselves sound good or make others sound bad. I wouldn't worry too much about it. He's probably just telling lies.
He's not, though. And she's looking up at them.
How do you know?
Because I saw it in my dad's eyes. When he said he was sorry when he died. Besides, I don't understand why why my uncle would lie to me. He's not around very much, but he loves me. Just because he's not around doesn't mean he doesn't like me.
I guess that makes enough sense.
My uncle doesn't really know how to react to kids anyways.
Yeah, I hear kids can be difficult.
There's not a thought that crosses her face when they say that. Completely unaware that she's been a pain in the ass this entire time.
I mean, kind of deserved. Kind of justified.
She's still a shit.
Okay, fair enough. But, after a bit of a pause, I think Drift will ask, well, if you don't think he's lying, do you at least know what this sickness does?
There's a long pause, and she's still kind of playing with the sticks, but it's not quite as enthusiastic. Like, the energy behind it is slowly dwindling. And she doesn't seem to know exactly how it happens. But she clearly knows the end goal of what the sickness does. And she mutters, it makes it really hard to heal. And slowly kills you. My uncle said that it spreads, but I don't know how.
Oh, well, who knows? Maybe he'll tell you if you ask him.
He doesn't want to say. Says it hurts too much to talk about.
Well, fair enough, I suppose. And I think it's around this time that Eerie would, like, set her head, set her head down on, like, Azalea's lap to try and provide emotional support. She's not the smartest dog, but she can sense, kind of bad emotions right now.
The look on Azalea's face, she's basically trying to distract herself by playing with these sticks. And, the hand that she uses to pet Eerie is metallic.
So, speaking about your uncle, do you happen to know what he does all day, I guess?
Sometimes I'll see him in the scrapyard. Other times I'll see him go into a place that I'm told that I can't go by the person standing at the door. Because it's for adults only. Which I think is stupid.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Plus, it's easy enough to sneak in there. Why bother enforcing that rule at this point?
She shrugs. I've seen him tailing some people, like, behind them. Not like he's gonna do anything, but like he's following them for something to do? I don't know. I only see a glimpse of him, and I lose him in the crowd, so... I don't know exactly what he does, but he does a lot. He's around.
Well, I'm glad he's around at least, occasionally. But, you know, if you don't really have a place you're staying regularly, yeah, I got something for you. And they will reach into their cloak. Pull out a little bundle of keys, and after sorting through them a bit, they will pull one of them off and hand it to Azalea. I actually got a little apartment in this area. You know, just somewhere to pick up my feet, relax, recover from hunts. I don't really use it too much. I'm more of an outdoors person, but if you need a place to stay, there's food and warm water there. Consider it an apology, you know, for mistaking you for your dad and sicking Eerie on you.
This child looks so confused. A, because of the apology. B, because she's being given something. C, because what's an apartment?
Oh no.
What do you mean water can be warm?
I think I need to make Drift roll an insight real quick to see if they realize or remember that this kid doesn't really know a lot of stuff. Oh, okay, a dirty 20. I think after a moment of the visible confusion, they go, an apartment is somewhere you live. Basically a room in a building with a lot of other rooms where a lot of other people live, but that room is yours specifically because you got the key.
I'm gonna roll her an intelligence check to see if she understands. Okay, she understands to an extent. She understands surprisingly well. Like, oh, it's like her room. She knows what rooms are, because she was in her room with her dad. That only they had the key to. Okay, it's like that. Just with the building, and not a ship.
Exactly.
Okay, She is gonna sift through her things, because she's been given a thing, which means that she needs to give a thing back. That's what you do. Something pirate code, I guess. She doesn't fully understand, but her dad taught her that if somebody gives you something, you give something back in return. As a sign of, hey, I'm not going to murder you the next time that you come around.
Okay, fair enough advice.
she's looking and she's looking and she's so confused. She doesn't know what to do.
You don't need to give me anything for that, by the way.
You know, I do, because you need to know that I won't kill you. Next time.
What, like little squirt like you could kill me? Relax, it's a gift. I mean, you don't need to give something back.
But this is what you do. Hold on. And, she's gonna take out a candle. Because that's all that she has in terms of, like, something that would be useful. And if you're smart, a candle has many uses. And, she's... I think in response to them saying, like, you don't need to, for a second time after she's already insisted, she's gonna throw it at them.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a dex save for the surprise game catch.
I'm gonna make a strength, because she's throwing it with her metal arm. You didn't need to go that hard, Azalea. That was a 16 versus a 13.
Yeah. It smacks Drift right in the face. And then before just falling into their lap. Okay, first, ow. Second. Yeah, sure, alright, if you insist. Not a bad candle, I guess. Max is pretty tasty. They mutter that second part mostly under their breath as they tuck it away into their clothes.
She has a passive perception of 18.
You hear them talking about... You hear their comment about wax being tasty.
There's a look of, like, mild concern on her face before she just kind of, like, bites her lip visibly and decides that she's not going to comment because, you know what? Not her monkey, not her circus.
But yeah, I think once that little exchange is done, Rift will get back to their feet, kick some sand over the fire to put it out. Or dusting the sand off of their cloak, and going. Well, this has been a lovely little meeting, but I think I'm gonna have to bounce. If the bounty on your dad is no longer available, I'll have to. There's another bounty I was thinking of picking up in the area. I'll probably go do that.
She tilts her head and kind of stands up. And she doesn't necessarily run, it's a kind of trot. And she runs up and she goes to try and take their hand. Like, can you show me where this, room thing is?
Oh, yeah, you probably need directions. Yeah, sure, I can take you there. But then I gotta get to my hunt.
Who are you hunting for?
Oh, well, they reach into their hammer space and pull out a wanted poster. For, let's say a spindly, crooked-looking UPA in tune. With an eye patch, of course. just this fellow. Apparently, let's see, multiple charges of murder, kidnapping, trafficking. He's a bounty on his head.
Alright, so I have a question for you, Tala.
Okay.
Is this person an actual, like, player character, or is this just a random person you made up?
Just a random guy I made up. I'm not hunting one of my own characters.
Alright.
Oh, hold on.
Ooh. Excuse us for a phone break, everybody. And we are back.
What were we doing, by the way? I forgot.
Talking about the next bounty that Drift had.
Right.
And
Yeah, it's not a player character.
alright. I am gonna see if she recognizes this person. What would that be? Would that be an intelligence or a wisdom check? It would probably be a history, honestly.
Yeah, I'd say history. That makes the most sense to me.
That's a 2. She doesn't know. She takes a look at them and she stares at it for a little bit and she's like, okay. And she's just walking alongside them with their hand in hers.
Well, sure, Drift will go along with it, and they will stuff the poster back into their pockets and lead Azalea down the streets of this little seaside town to an apartment building.
Alright.
Yeah, nothing too special with it. It's just a plain old apartment building. Drift will enter, take the stairs.
I think.
Sorry, what you say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, as soon as they're inside, like, she's messing around with the taps because she's curious about what this warm water means.
Yeah, once we're inside the apartment, which is very basically undecorated, pretty much. There's basically no furniture besides what came pre-installed, like most of the stuff in the kitchen and the bathroom as well. But other than that, it's empty, save for I'll say like a couple of boxes in one room. It basically just look like medical supplies.
Fair enough. And her not knowing what any of this is, like, she's never seen a house before. She's messing around with the bathtub, like, patting it, wondering what this thing is. Looking into cabinets, wondering what the fuck. She stomps on the floor, because this doesn't feel like wood to her.
I wouldn't suggest doing that too much, at least not in the evenings. My neighbors will get really cranky if they hear too much noise. And if you cause too many problems, you get kicked out.
Oh, okay.
You know, just try to keep noise down to a minimum and you're good. Oh, and don't break any of the appliances either. If you break anything, you gotta pay it. You gotta pay for it, and then it's just a whole hassle. Yeah, the landlord's kind of a dick, but the place was cheap.
Let me see. How well is she able to pay attention to this? I think that's gonna be a wisdom check. Which is... it seems like just a +2. Not that great, but... that's a 4. My darling child. Yeah, she's just kind of going around the apartment, seeming to explore, but, like, you're looking at this child. You don't think she can make any promises about any of that?
Well, I guess we'll see. So, Drift will go ahead and let her explore the apartment. In the meantime, they're probably gonna like head over to the fridge, crack it open, grab like a soda can, and just drink it while they wait for her to finish.
For an apartment with absolutely fuck all in it, she can spend a good bit of time exploring even the smallest of things. Like, she is...
Well, you know, the corners are fascinating.
They're so sharp and not round, like a boat. It's really weird.
I'll be sure to like tell her not to mess with the boxes in the one room though. That stuff is my stuff. Emergency supplies specifically. Try not to touch it unless, you know, you have an emergency, in which case I guess you're justified.
Why would I need to touch that stuff? I have magic.
Oh yeah, right. You know, just in case. You can't always rely on magic.
And she thinks about it for a second, and she's like, okay. And, like, she thinks back, she knows a little bit about medical supplies and stuff and how to use some of it. I sit here looking at her +5 in medicine. Like, there's a quick glance at those boxes, and looking in, she knows what those things are. And she kind of, like, wrinkles her nose a little bit, like, I know what those are. I know what to do with that. It's not that special. Doesn't say those things, but it's written on her face. But she leaves it alone, for the most part. And, then she comes up to you, Drift, and... she looks up at what you have in your hand, the soda can, and she points to it and is like, what's that?
Oh, this? It's soda. You want one?
What's a soda?
Right. You're still some weird urchin from the streets. Yeah, soda is one of these. It's basically like a drink that's unhealthy but tastes really good.
Oh. Okay.
It's also got bubbles.
It's got bubbles?
Yep. Really makes it pop. Oh, I guess that's why it's called that.
She's curious. She nods.
Yeah. Okay, they'll hand it over.
She takes a drink of it. And I'm gonna roll a con check to see how she likes it. That's a no. So, like, she takes a drink, and I guess she takes the drink a little too quickly, and it goes up her nose. And she starts choking a bit, and she hands it back like, I don't like that. It stings.
Yeah, you gotta drink it slower, kid. Hey, the sting is part of the charm. They'll throw that open soda can back in the fridge for, I don't know, a later day.
She makes a face, but she says absolutely nothing and just goes back to, I guess playing, in a sense. She's not really playing with anything in particular.
Well, I mean, I guess probably our dog toys for Eerie, tucked away in one of the rooms.
And she probably finds one that looks kind of like a familiar-ish being and starts playing with it.
Well, yeah, I think Drift will go ahead and leave her to it. In the meantime, they'll of course do a quick, do their usual sweep of the apartment. You know, make sure. Make sure the fire escape out their window is still clear. Make sure that window is still able to be opened. And once done that, they will, I think, say to Azalea, well, hope you enjoy the place. It's probably about time that I head out now. Remember, don't cause too much noise. Try not to damage anything, and I guess if you need anything, like furniture or a place to sleep, I'm pretty sure there's like a shelter over on Cherry Street that occasionally gives stuff out. If you want, if that interests you.
Okay.
But, yeah, other than that, yeah, just feel free to help yourself to anything. To the apartment, I guess. And you can make sure to keep an eye on the key as well, or you don't want to lose it. Unless you feel like entering through the window, which is usually what I do, but hey.
The key in question is already around something on her hip.
Oh, hey, that works. And what's that? They will call Eerie over from where she was probably also playing with toys. And they'll head out for their next bounty.
I think Azalea was only half-heartedly paying attention when they were telling her that they were leaving. So when she hears the door close, she gets confused, and she goes towards it and sees that it's closed, and looks around the rest of the apartment, sees that she's alone, and she's like, oh, okay. And she just kind of futzes around a little bit in the apartment, not sure what to do, until she decides, you know what, I'm tired, I'm gonna go to bed. And she picks a corner and she just lays down. She goes to sleep, curled up in her hat and her giant coat that was her dad's.
And as our scene closes on this final shot, and everything starts to fade to black. I want to add one short little epilogue, real quick, as I think Azalea is woken up in the middle of the night by a thump, a thud, sound of a window sliding open, and then the body hitting the floor.
In the darkness, there is just very wide, pink, glowing eyes looking at this.
From the window is Drift. Who... Does she have dark vision?
She does.
Okay, yeah, you can go ahead and roll a medicine check quick. This just shakily dragged himself up onto their feet.
That's a nat 1, honey!
Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Drift's physiology is a little strange. But, after them glimpse in Eerie as well, and they don't really seem to pay Azalea much mind as they sort of stumble over to the room with the medical supplies, open it, step in, and then there's the softer thud of someone just dropping onto the floor like a bag of stones as they shuffle through the boxes.
This is weird and very concerning. Okay. Does she have this? Because that would be absolutely fucking hysterical. She does not have this. However, if I can get it to her at some point, I absolutely will. So for flavor, I'm going to say that this is what she does. So, I've said before that Azalea solely really relies on instinct rather than experience because she's a child. She is still very young. So she's just kind of gonna climb the wall, and then climb up onto the ceiling, and try and stealth up to that room.
Well, can everybody close the door?
That's an 11. That's not great.
Actually, I'll go ahead and roll a perception for Drift. 'Cause, well, I think they probably would have forgotten. Yeah, they gave the apartment to someone. Eerie probably already knows she's there just because they can smell her. Not that she really worries too much. That's a child.
She's baby.
She's baby.
At the current moment, she's being a kind of eldritch horror baby, but...
But still baby. Anyways, time to roll perception at disadvantage since you're... I'm not even gonna roll again, that's a 5.
Well, Eldritch Horror Baby on the ceiling, kind of latches her tail around the ceiling light which I'm kind of assuming has, like, some kind of attachment that has a space for something to latch onto.
Yeah, it's just the bare light bulb. Again, very minimal decoration.
Alright. Somehow her tail latches around that. I'm not going to question how. And she drops down with just her tail holding on to the sailing light. And, she very bluntly asks, "What happened?"
Oh, Jesus Christ! Insert someone who actually exists in Toonkind canon. What the fuck were you? Are you at the fucking ceiling? What?
Yeah? I have claws. I mean, I have hooves too, but those stick.
Jeez, kid. You're gonna give me a heart attack.
I think a heart attack is the least of your worries.
Yeah, actually, I'll say since you're closer now and, like, Drift has removed their cloak, you can in fact see that they are pretty badly wounded. Like, the wounds themselves are a little hard to see, and their blood is, like, the same color as their fur. But, there's, like, a lot of it. Which is especially more noticeable against, like, the bandages that they're currently wrapping around themselves. They're bleeding heavily.
Yeah, I think she's going to use a, third level healing word when she says, worries. So take a 3d4 plus 5 in healing.
I'm just gonna say this. When you feel this magic envelop Drift, it fades away and nothing seems to have changed. Notifying Drift just sighs, gets back to their bandaging and cleaning, says, "I told you, kid, you can't always rely on magic. That stuff doesn't work on me and Eerie."
She kind of turns herself to where her feet are closer to the ground than her head, and she lets herself drop. It's a relatively loud thud, because she is a very hefty girl. And there's the sound of clinking metal and, like, creaking. And, she kind of has to adjust when she stands up straighter on one hip. And there's a little bit of a limp as she gets a little closer and then goes to lean down or kneel in front of them.
What's her passive insight?
Her passive insight. Oh boy. I'm assuming it's probably the same as her passive perception, which is an 18.
Yeah, passive insight is like your insight mod plus 10.
Okay, yeah, it's 18.
Okay. Yeah, you can see as you, like, drop from the ceiling,
it's 15.
Drift sort of stiffens, and you can tell they're quite wary as they try to hide it, but one hand has twitched towards the gun that they've like puts it beside them. They are currently heavily injured and realizing now that they're a bit cornered and they don't quite like that.
She's ignoring it, and she's letting herself, like, kneel back down onto her knees, with the leg that she was limping on, which has a really loud metal creak that she slows down to try and muffle until she's settled on her knees, sort of in front of them. And I'm going to roll another medicine to see if she can help. And that's a 19.
Yeah, okay.
She completely ignores the directions not to mess around with the box, and she immediately grabs some supplies that she knows what to do with.
Yeah, she definitely knows more about actual medical care than Drift does. Like, their work is passable, but it's definitely like not the best considering they again aren't very much of a healer and also the one bleeding out.
You suck at wrapping bandages.
Yeah, I'd like to see you do better.
She looks up at them, looks them dead in the eyes, undoes the bandages that they did for themselves, and then actually puts some stuff on it to keep it from getting infected, and then wraps it with a new bandage and does a better job with that 19, and then looks at them again.
Well, I'll be. I guess I stand corrected.
And she's kind of gonna put her hand, the one that's like still actual flesh, on their shoulder and kind of push them down gently so that they're laying down.
Yeah, at this point they're a little too tired to argue. They'll go ahead.
And she's gonna get to work on bandaging both of them up because, yeah, no. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, Eerie's just over here licking her wounds. Like, she doesn't know how to bandage shit.
When she's done with the worst of what's on Drift, she'll go over to Eerie and work on Eerie, and then once the worst of the worst that would immediately kill them if it wasn't handled right away is done, then she'll work on, like, the smaller things, like the cuts or the bruises or things like that.
Yeah, I think Drift specifically stays pretty quiet throughout the whole thing, but you do get some grateful licks from Eerie.
She gives Eerie some pets back, very gentle, despite the fact that she's using her metal hand to do so, since she is primarily using the one that isn't metal for, like, the actual doctoring as much as possible, because that hand is a lot more gentle. And I don't know about you, but I think it's a pretty cute place to end it.
Yeah, we end this scene now on, I guess, quiet companionship between two kids caught in different unfortunate circumstances, and this has been Off the Hook. Thanks for listening, folks.
Heck yeah, thank you so much, Tala, for the wonderful FPS.
Thank you for joining me today as we now sign off. This has been Tala,
And Babble.
and have a wonderful day, night, whatever it is over there.
Bye, have a beautiful time.